All right, so hey everybody, Reed here, back for another Truck Parking Club employee interview. This time we're joined by Jessica Shirley from our customer care team. Jessica, why don't you just go ahead and introduce yourself, talk about kind of what you do at Truck Parking Club briefly, and we'll kind of get into your story and go from there.
All right, cool. So he said, my name is Jessica. I am the second shift customer care supervisor. So I have a team of seven underneath me right here at this moment. And so I kind of, overlook them and making sure that, our drivers are taken care of to the best of their ability. And that's about what I do.
So, what were you doing before Truck Parking Club?
So before Truck Parking Club, I drove over the road with my husband. We team drove, and we did that for roughly around 11 years. Um, we started out at a big corporation trucking company, and we felt like we were just another number. Wasn't a fan of that. So we kind of jumped around to two other companies. They're based out of Georgia, because we live in South Carolina. So we wanted somewhere that was close to us because we didn't have a place to park the truck here at home. Um, and most of the companies, they want you to be able to take the truck home. And we just didn't have that. And so we wanted to work with a company that was close enough where we could just leave the truck there and just come home. And so we worked about 2.5, 3 hours from home. And then we just kind of did that. So with our last company, we were there for about 3 or 4 years, and we were on kind of like a dedicated account. Like it wasn't technically, but kind of, because that's where all of our loads went. But we always went out to the Seattle area, back to Atlanta, took a day off at the yard, and then right back to Seattle. Sometimes we'd have to take a day or so out there, and parking out there was rough. It was very hard to find anywhere to park out there. Um, and it's so funny looking at the map now and seeing where the map is now, and the place that we would always park at. It was a brand new pilot, but now there's a location at the washout place that we would always go to washouts, and it's just like, oh my gosh, that like this came about like after we done, came off the road. So
Yeah.
it's just cool to see that. But yeah, so that was kind of about our trucking experience.
What, when did you first hear about, and so when did you first hear about Truck Parking Club?
So, so that's kind of a funny story. So Jordan, who is our first shift supervisor, she we have daughters that are about 2 to 3 months apart, and she was starting to get off of the road to have her daughter, and wanted to work from home position but still wanted to stay in the trucking. And like obviously same, like I kind of helped her navigate getting into trucking. And then I seen that she was looking for the same thing I was looking for, because I found out I was pregnant, and coming off the road at 8 months pregnant, you're like, and this is the only career you ever know, and it's just like, what am I gonna do now? Like I
Yeah.
can't go and get a career somewhere else, right? Like it's just not possible. And so her and I spoke a little while, and we live very close together. I would say within about 20 minutes of each other, and we never met each other. We only ever talked online. And she messaged me one day because she knew that we just came off the road because of me being so pregnant. And she was like, "Hey, girl, uh, my dog's about to hire. Like, do you want to join?" And I'm like, "Girl, I'm like 6 weeks postpartum, like at this point." And I'm like, "You know what? Yeah, let's go for it. Let's go for it." So that was how I found out about Parking Club. I swear, I thought it was a scam. I was like, "Girl, what are you pulling me into?" No. But it's turned out to be a lifesaver. I love what we do here. I wish that I would have known about this company when we were on the road. We would have utilized it so often. Even though we were team driving, um, there were spots, down in Nashville, down Atlanta, and now, up near the Seattle area, we've got so many locations up there now where I'm just like, dang, like we really could have utilized this. And so it's
Yeah.
just so cool.
So and so when was that when you joined?
So I started working here on Valentine's Day, so back in February of 24. Yeah.
Cool, cool. And since then, you started just as like a support customer care rep, and you've now moved on to being a team lead. I guess talk through that. Like, how has it been? Like, first of all, how was it going from sitting in the driver's seat, or being in the co-pilot seat when your husband's driving and driving when you drove? Like, how does it go from being that to like now, okay, I'm sitting at a desk and I'm doing customer service stuff?
Yeah,
How's that transition?
it's very strange, very strange. Like having, being together with my husband 24/7 to now, yeah, I'm at home like almost 24/7 with my now 8-month-old. Um, but he is going and working at some other place for 8 hours a day on swing shifts, and I'm just over here like, this is very strange. I'm still having a hard time with that. But
Sure.
going from, driving and talking with other drivers on the road to being in customer care and talking with drivers on the phone is a lot different. Um,
Hmm.
but I feel like it's so much more pleasurable over the phone because you're able to help them walk through something. Whereas, like, when you're on the road, you're just like, you know, like talking about other random stuff. But
Yeah.
here, like, you're actually helping them do something. And so, I think going from those two is very, very strange, but it's very cool and definitely um, productive, I guess. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel more productive now than I did on the road. Um,
Yeah, well, each call that comes in, I mean, just so everyone knows, I guess why don't you talk about our customer care team, how it's structured, like what it even is, just for folks who don't know.
so I mean, our customer care team is here for any of the drivers or property members. They just call in. Nothing is automated. When you call in, you get a real live person. And if for some reason, you nobody answers, you do get a text message, and that's, automation. But it's to let you know that, hey, like, our customer care team is on the phone, and we'll call you back as soon as we get off the phone. Um, and so, these drivers are calling in and like, hey, I need a spot and so and so. Do you have anything around there? How much is it? And obviously we tell them all of the information, and then they realize we have an app, and they're like, I'm sorry, you what? And it's like, yeah, like, we've got all this information. So we send them all the information, and they're just thankful for all of the help. And then, half the time they're like, well, oh, do you have a location here too? While they're on the phone with you. And it's just like, yeah, we'll send you this link too. Um, but our customer care team is there to answer all of the questions. If you ever have any issues with the property, obviously give us a call. We are here 24/7. A lot of people think that, we're not even staffed 24/7, and it's like the trucking industry never stops. And neither will our customer care team. We are here holidays, overnight. We are always here. Um, and I think, did that pretty much answer your question?
Yeah, yeah. So I guess similarly to your story, most of the folks on the team are also former drivers. I guess like talk through what it's been like to work with, maybe a bunch of other folks who have a similar experience to you and maybe have never worked, a desk, have never driven a desk, if you will.
Yeah.
How has that been?
Yeah, so it is. I mean, it's different working with former drivers who also have customer care experience. So I did have some customer care, and obviously being on the road, you have customer care because you're going in
Sure.
and talking with shippers and receivers, and so you're a customer.
Yeah.
But dealing with other people who are now no longer drivers, and it's so weird to kind of hear our stories and like talk, and it's just, oh yeah, we've been there. Oh yeah, and it's just like on the other side of the country, and you
Mhm.
can't do that when you go into, like, these other corporations with a desk job. And yeah, it's just
Mhm.
it's very cool to like hear and compare the stories and know that you've probably been through a very similar situation. And when drivers call in, they think that they're just going to talk to somebody who's never been on the road. And
Yep.
when they find out that we are all previous drivers, their attitude changes very quickly, because we
Yep.
all know that, when you have a dispatcher who's never driven before, and you start, they're like, why don't you get here faster? Da, 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 and we're just over here like, can
I'm
Seriously?
doing what I can. Yeah.
Yeah, like, okay, okay. And so, we always say as drivers, well, we would like for our dispatchers to have at least a week under their belts, like we want them to feel like what it's like out here.
Hmm.
Um, and I feel like that is our advantage here is that we have been in their shoes. Um, like you have to have over a year experience to even work here, like over a
Hmm.
year on the road experience.
Hmm.
Because we know that when that clock hits like 20 minutes left, like you've got to find somewhere to park, otherwise you are
Yep.
going to be screwed. I have been,
Yep.
I've gotten multiple warnings of uh just parked on a ramp in Nebraska for getting a bottle of water out of my fridge in the back. And I'm thinking, how do you want me to get my bottle of water out of
There.
the back? Like I need to pull over for just like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
so I would only, I would just hate to imagine what it's like, trying to park for the night in Nebraska.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. No, it's interesting, and for me, it's been when I first met Tracy, I was like, I talked to her a bit, and then I talked to Evan afterwards. I was like, Evan, where did you find Tracy? Like, she is like a unicorn type person, you know what I mean? And so I guess talk about, she's obviously the leader of the team. Like, talk about like how you've enjoyed working with her, and kind of how she set up the team.
yeah, so Tracy is for sure a unicorn. She is
Yeah.
literally the jack of all trades. Every time I turn around, she is like, "Okay, I'm doing this now," and I'm like, "Okay, girl, like, calm down, calm down." But she's very fun. She's very positive. She loves bringing the team together. She's literally got her hands in everything from customer service to property to literally everything. When she first called me, we spoke for over an hour before she even hired me. I told her everything I had going on in my personal life and that, one of my main priorities was my then 6-week-old daughter and
Mhm.
how, the phones and all that, it might would have been challenging, but I don't know. And she was like, Jessica, family comes first, always.
Mhm.
She's like, but, there's also a job to be done. And, there's that. And I'm like, I get you. I get you. Um, and so she has just been really great to work under. If I ever need help with anything, she's right there. I mean, within 5 months of me being here, I was promoted to supervisor. And, she is there like cheering me on every step of the way and just like, you got this. Like you seriously, I don't know how she does what she does. I really, I
Yeah.
really
I,
feel,
I don't I don't either. I don't either, to be clear.
yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool. Well, I guess, just more about being on the road. What was your favorite part of driving?
So I don't know if it was about the driving itself, but I love being with my husband like
Yeah.
24/7. I also have a golden retriever, and she was my
She,
passenger when my husband
she
was,
was she was in the truck with y'all?
yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Um, it was a little tricky at first, having a puppy out there.
yep.
But once she got older, she's super chill. She's 5 now. Um,
Yep.
and it was really cool to kind of take her places and just see the other places. My husband and I, we love taking sunset and sunrise photos and mountains and all the things. And so just seeing those sights, sometimes it's just like, oh man, this stuff is real, you know.
Yeah, and going from Georgia to the northwest, you got to see a good chunk of the country just in that one trip right there. So that's you probably saw a bunch of good sights.
Oh, for sure. Even though Wyoming is so dead, it can be so pretty at the same time. So it's still on my verge of moving there, but I don't know if I can do all the
Was
snow.
that like your favorite spot, or what was your favorite spot you would go through?
So I really liked the sights in Montana, but I didn't like driving through there. I just like the sights. But as far as like
Yep.
anywhere else, I mean, I might would say Washington.
Hmm.
When I was growing up, I did live in Vancouver for a little while, but it wasn't long enough, and I didn't see the northern part of the state.
Yeah.
Um, but I definitely liked the mountains, but then the woody feeling. But I think it's just might be too much snow. But since I'm not driving now, I might like the snow. So I don't know.
Yeah, that's cool. So what was your least favorite part about driving?
Oh, I have to be careful with what I say because I don't want backlash.
Just
Well, no, it's probably the cars. Um, the people who've never driven, who've never been about around big trucks, and they just they just think that we're out there to like run them off the roads, and that's just not accurate. I think that that would always get me the most. Like it would always make me so angry because I drove during the day, and driving during the day in Nashville at 5 o'clock is not is not fun. Or even LA, Chicago, any of those big cities, and even
yep,
not you just get cars that cut you off, and you're just like, I need more room than that, please.
yep,
Or they get mad and they slam on their brakes in front of you and they flip you off and this and that
yep, yep.
because you can't get over, and it's just like I couldn't get over, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So
People they don't have they don't have the experience, so they don't understand what it's like to operate the vehicle, and you're not a car, so you can't do what cars do.
exactly, exactly, and they just don't understand that. So I feel like they all need to be in a truck for like a week, kind of like this.
Yeah, the road might be a very different place if folks actually had that experience. It takes a lot to stop an 80,000 pound vehicle that's almost 70 feet long. So that's it seems obvious, but maybe most folks don't realize that. That's no, that's cool. I guess I'm excited for about the future of Truck Parking Club.
I'm excited to see kind of like where we're at in the next 2 months. I mean, obviously, for a lifetime of this place, when I first started, we had 249 properties on the platform. The last time I looked, we had 752 or something like that. I haven't looked today, but I swear, seeing the growth of this company day to day is insane. And so I'm excited to. I feel like we talked about this on our meeting, but I'm excited to see it go international. Canada's right there. We get a lot of requests about Canada, and just the thought of all of that is just like, oh my gosh, we're probably gonna do it sooner rather than later. And I'm just like, oh, I can go to Canada soon. That's cool. I'm here for that. That was one thing I never got to do when I drove. There's
Yeah,
only
yeah.
I never got to go to Canada, and the only states I never been to besides that was Alaska, Hawaii, and Maine. Those are the three states I've never been to. So I'm super excited just to see the growth in that. Like we're I feel like we're always hiring over here in customer care. It seems like because the call volumes just keep going raising, raising,
Yeah,
raising,
yeah,
and
yeah,
like when I started, it was just three of us, well, four of us on the phones, and now
yep,
there's seven underneath me, and I'm just like, oh my gosh.
yeah, yeah. It's going fast, and it's only going to get faster, probably. So you're going to have a lot of work to be done by you and the team.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm here. I'm bring it on, man. Bring it on.
Um, Great. Well, is there anything we didn't cover that you're interested in talking about? Anything else you want to say, or?
Um, I mean, I don't think so. I mean, I appreciate you doing this, and I'm just glad to have it out there that we are staffed by former drivers. That we're here to answer any questions 24/7. Um, and we are here to treat the drivers the best of the best. Um, and I promise that you won't find another customer care division like we are. I know after working in customer care, and when I have to call somebody up and be like, hey, on their customer care, and it's not the same experience. I know that
Yeah, yeah.
it irritates me so much. And I'm just like, oh no,
Well,
okay, well,
yeah. I mean, but especially in transportation, like I feel like you're used to customer service being even worse than you might be in other domains. Like anyone who's ever called a warehouse to try to resolve an issue knows that it's like essentially impossible to have, you do, at the very least, you don't expect to make one phone call and have all your problems go away. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So I imagine that you probably have folks who pick up the phone and call in and are surprised when they actually get an answer to their question or get their issue resolved quickly,
absolutely.
with one call.
Absolutely. We definitely strive for the one call resolutions. Now, we do have some new people, so they might, have some questions and then they may have to
Yep.
call you back. But regardless, they will call you back. And that is another thing that these drivers are amazed of is, oh my gosh, I can't believe you called me back. And I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, of course we're going to call you back, and if you don't answer,
Yep.
I'm going to text you too and let you know that I did try to call you back. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
we definitely try to be vigilant with how well we take care of our drivers because we want that we want that good customer service with them because we are the last people that they typically talk to before they go to bed. And so we want that good interaction with them to let them know, hey, I just had a really nice conversation with this person on the phone. And now
Hmm.
I can go to bed and have a little bit of a better night.
Yep. I think that's a good place to end it. Let's put it to bed there. I
Sounds good.
appreciate I appreciate you doing this. I think you guys are obviously the front lines of this company, and it wouldn't exist without y'all. So we all everyone who's not on customer care sees the work and understands the value of it. So appreciate it. And appreciate you doing the interview, and we'll get this published up, and uh, we'll both get back to work. So thanks.
Sounds good. No problem. Thank you.